the empire will fall.
I have a boyfriend. He's in the army.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How long you guys been together for?
Like a year.
A year?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you plan on getting married with him? Do you see that like being the future or no?
That's the plan, but I don't know. Guys!
How does he feel about you being like outside the clubs?
That's the fucking
Does he even know?
Oh
my god, no way, dude, this is so fun.
That's the fucking question.
Okay, so,
What do you mean I can't have any alcohol?
okay, well I'll tell you. Okay, the time's 20 to 3, 14:40. I'm arresting you on suspicion of improper use of the Electronic Communications Network. And just
What?
127 of the Communications Act, okay? So you do not have to say it. That may harm your defence if you don't mention one question subject to later or in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being
You're
arrested?
going to be arrested, okay?
Right,
Take
and-
that to the police station.
Right.
Okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay?
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
Right.
Have you got anything in your pockets?
I got my keys. I got... No, that's about it, I think. Keys.
So, anyone who's been arrested, we can search them under Section 32 of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act.
Right.
And that's for dangerous items.
Hey,
Evidence.
I mean, you said I was going to be arrested under some what? Information? I'm going to be
We've had
arrested for
reports that
posting on
you've made
Facebook.
some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's
And can you tell me what this comment was?
We'll do
Okay,
that
well
in
we'll
an
do that when we interview.
All right. And so,
Okay.
what am I going to be locked up for the night, or?
Yep, everything's working out just fine. As long as you keep your mouth shut while everything around you that's found traditionally valuable slowly collapses. In a recent video, I talked about how feminism is starting to leak into the law in a very direct way. And if it persists, young men all over places like the US, UK, and anywhere else in the West won't just be looking at the typical corrupt alimony and offense charges that are everywhere at this point. Of course, cancel culture has been a rampant issue for a while now, where people lose their careers because they question the feminist narrative, but now that's looking like it's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, if someone looks at something like Lizzo twerking on a geriatric politician and decides to post something like, "Hey, I think this is gross. The movement is out of control," she could literally slip and crush the guy. Suddenly, the commenter could be looking at jail time for, quote, disturbing the peace. And I'm definitely not the first person to point out that this has become kind of serious. I mean, we love to joke around about these chicks on TikTok, crying while putting on makeup and blaming Chad for destroying her family, but the situation gets a bit more grim when the act of laughing itself is potentially on its way to becoming a crime.
Should a man care about what his girl wears?
Absolutely. What women want to do is solicit attention. So when you wear a promiscuous outfit like that, you are soliciting the attention of other males.
No,
Definitely not. Like,
no.
I'm gonna wear what I want.
Because he has no say on our lives.
Yeah, like,
who
we're gonna
gives
do
a
what we
fuck
want to
about
do.
what he
That's
wants.
it.
It's our lives.
Yeah.
Do you think you should have some say in what your girl wears when going out?
You know what? I'm gonna say no to that. You know what? She does what she wants to.
If his girlfriend is not here, I'm telling you, there's a completely different answer to that question. That's all I know.
It only takes one simp, people. That was rough. For the past few weeks, I've been marking a ton of parallels between JD Unwin's sex and culture and how feminism is something not all that new, but rather cyclical. Sure, for us, we see the decline starting around 250 years ago, with it accelerating about 100 years ago. However, that's just the current state of affairs. The thing is, it's been happening in both the West and the East for over 80 civilizations across time. It's something that happens whenever men don't walk away. And look, in some ways the past can be forgiven. Men didn't have access to the world the way we do. If you go far back enough in the timeline, most guys barely knew there was another city 3 days away, let alone possess access to a network that gives you a constant stream of warning signs. There weren't people like us sharing the reality of the situation, that if women are given wiggle room to make every decision on their own, while damning the fruits of masculine labor, things fall apart faster than a game of Jenga in the middle of an earthquake.
You telling me, oh, can you even pronounce the word hypothetical? That's a rude comment right there. Like, you know what you're doing. You're trying to rile us up.
Entire show?
Because you've been sassy, dude. I don't know how you like can't even like see that for yourself. Like, truly, it actually is boggling my mind, and I'm honestly concerned that you can't understand
and you
how
can't
you
understand
have
how
been.
to speak into the microphone.
See, and there he goes again.
I've
there you
literally
go
told
again.
you multiple times.
Oh my God, is that really our biggest issue here? I feel like you're our biggest issue
Or
here.
you could just do it.
Or is this really me speaking into the microphone our biggest issue here?
You could just do it.
I'm doing it right now, dude.
You've now corrected it. Go ahead with your point.
See, there you go. Like, you can't even like.
I'm telling you to finish your point.
You can no. You're not telling me to finish my
Okay, then
point.
don't
You
finish
can't
your
even
point.
converse with me on important things. You just like to point out, oh, look at you, cool. Like, you don't even know how to like have an actual conversation when a woman is bringing up a point that's actually correct.
What's your point?
My point is that
What do
you've
you
been
wanna
just
discuss?
as rude as I have been. And when I say that, you're just like, oh, can you even speak into a mic?
Can you talk?
Yeah, I don't care about how what I say makes a person emotionally feel if the purpose of the discussion is a disagreement. Your emotional state from there is totally irrelevant to me.
Do you know that that's a symptom?
Of what?
Psychopathy.
Psychopathy doesn't exist.
It does.
It doesn't.
It's the lack of empathy for another's
Nope.
feelings.
Okay, so you're a psychologist, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that psychopathy is actually a medical psychological condition and that you can identify it in the DSM?
Yes, they can now brain scan you and tell if you have psychopathy.
Do you have your phone?
Yes.
Okay, can you pull up the DSM-5 and show me where it says anything about psychopathy?
I'm not talking about the DSM-5. I'm talking
Well,
about...
then how do you categorize what is a psychological condition?
You can get a brain scan and your gray matter would show up differently than somebody without psychopathy.
That, first of all, when you're talking about brain scans, that's really brand new tech.
The technical details, feminist kryptonite. Looking at these two conversations, the uninitiated might think, wow, these guys aren't giving them the chance to make a point. But the fact of the matter is that these take place after almost an hour of digging to find some semblance of a point, which if you haven't guessed already, doesn't really exist. So, here's a point that does exist. Women like to complain. They like to complain so much that it gets in the way of actual progress and forces any system that chooses to humor the nonsense to come to a screeching halt. For the last 3 decades, feminists have spent countless government dollars and time trying to make men stop what they're doing, only for them to get up on the soapbox and diagnose fictional problems, with the only end goal being that they want something for nothing in return. It's why millions of women complain about the men always working, while they sit there waiting in a filthy house with children who haven't bathed in days. It's why the single mother count continues to skyrocket, with almost every primary excuse being, I didn't feel good. It's why we now have women all over the West in powerful positions that got there by ranting, only for them to babble incoherently when asked what it is they actually do. See, the situation where men carry the load hasn't changed a bit. The only thing that seems to be changing is who receives titles and the benefits that come along with it.
Why is romantic love such a bad thing?
Because it puts unrealistic expectations on a relationship. Romance is about whining and dining. And let's be honest, romance is about making women happy. There's nothing in the romantic model that says a man has to be happy at all. The romantic model says a man has to produce jewels, he has to produce nice things.
Right.
Look at the model of how proposals go in the West. Everybody has that image of their mind of a man down on his knee, bearing a gift, jewelry that's supposed to represent 3 months of his salary. It's all set up, it's all arranged in advance. That's romance. Romance is laying rose petals at her feet. Romance is talking to her.
Worshipping women.
It is a worship. Gee, what could go wrong there long term? If you start a relationship with that kind of unrealistic expectation, that only thing that matters is elevating her, the only thing that matters is her happiness.
And that's why you get these women saying they fell out of love. It's
Absolutely.
because they came in with the expectation of romantic love.
And women aren't particularly romantic. Men are. Men are the romantic ones. I work with couples. I work with men post-divorce. It's always the men that are devastated. The broken hearts. I mean, I see it affects women too, no doubt. But for most guys that I work with, by the time the divorce rolls around, she's doing well. Got a new boyfriend.
Right.
Probably had one before they ever broke up. She monkey branched right out of it. And women tend to do their grieving while they're in the relationship, and then they're done. And then a guy says, is like, oh, it's over now, then he starts.
Let me show you. Are you fine with your husband paying for like $100 ring? Are you fine with that, or would you want him to spend a bit more?
No, I would be fine with that.
You'd be fine with that?
Yeah.
Going around the table? You're married. How much did your husband spend on the ring?
Never told me.
Never told
Never
you?
asked.
Okay. What about you?
I don't think it matters.
Don't care? Okay.
Absolutely not.
Don't care?
No, I care.
Okay, how much should a man... I've heard something like 3 months' salary.
I want a
Doesn't matter.
6-carat ring minimum. Oh my
So how much does that cost? I don't know.
Could be anywhere from like 60 to 80K depending on the diamond vendor, if you're getting one that was lab created or if you're getting one that was sourced from Africa. Wow. I don't think I ever asked.
Show us the ring. What about you? You want...
Spicy.
I mean, I don't think it really matters, but I also don't think you should be getting married if you're not at a point in your life where you can financially...
I don't agree with it, but what about you?
Well, it at least has to be the ring I want.
It has to be the ring you want?
Yeah.
Is your ring that you want going to be worth $100?
Probably not.
Oh, okay.
I picked out my ring.
It doesn't matter.
Controversial things I'm doing at my wedding. People are already upset, and at this point, I don't care. First, we're having a destination wedding. Apparently, it is so selfish for me and my fiance to force everyone to fly to Mexico for our wedding. First of all, no one is forcing you to come to our wedding. Just because we sent you an invite doesn't mean you have to come. Also, this was just an excellent way for me and my fiance to thin the herd. Is that what you said? If our wedding was in Nashville, we would feel like we had to invite everybody. Since it's in Mexico, we cut down our invite list majorly. Now, all the people that were just coming for the photo op and food ain't gonna be there. Also, we literally could not afford to have a wedding in Nashville. We are saving thousands having our wedding in Mexico. Lastly, it is my wedding. At the end of the day, I'm gonna do what's best for me and my fiance. And if that means having a much smaller wedding in Mexico, that's what we're gonna do. That's all I got. Y'all have a good day now. Love you.
It all starts in the home, and it's always been that way. When it comes to female nature, it's always been consistent, at least when it's whittled down to the default settings. They consume, they produce kids, they manage the manageable, which is limited to household affairs. And when it stays that way, there's not much of a problem. Sure, the complaining is still there from time to time, and there will be requests, but it's confined to something that is so small that it doesn't infect the rest of the world around them. But when they take even the slightest bit of control over institutions that actually impact the whole of society, institutions that, when handled by men, benefit the whole, suddenly they become cultural weapons of mass destruction, serving only half of the population. The half that has spent generations receiving comfortable lifestyles, without understanding the effort and knowledge required to even get there. For a time, the essence of the exchange was as understandable as the instructions for building a 5-piece furniture product. Women would stay home, care for the kids, and make sure order was sustained until the hard-working guy they chose to live with came home with enough money to keep things moving. While men did, well, what men do, everything else. It was a heavy burden, of course, but knowing that the house would be in order, we were able to do everything we could outside to make sure that the future remained bright. And this is, of course, why we have a bit of a problem.
If women are looking for financially secure men, what in exchange would be of equal value to a man?
They want their woman to anticipate their needs. The best way you can show a man respect is to understand and anticipate the things that he wants. And then the third thing is you have to put him above your own needs and your own desire. And number 3 is the thing that I think, at least in modernity, fail out the most, is they want men to put them up on some kind of pedestal. Men are trained from birth now how they deserve to be treated. And men are trained from birth how they're supposed to treat women. But nobody is trained from birth for how they're supposed to treat men. And this is a massive problem. Because the truth is that men know how to treat other men because we're in their company all the time. But women seem to look at it. They think they deserve to be treated by men without ever adhering to the standard of how they think men deserve to be treated.
What is it about women and accountability to where the two are just like oil and water? Why is that?
Well, how often do we really hold them accountable?
Very rare.
Sure.
I guess just the pattern that I've noticed is like it's a constant process of emotional justification for their actions without admitting that it was a mistake.
I think it's not necessarily because in their heart of hearts they believe it.
Yeah.
It's because it works. Like every time the cop lets the woman off the hook for the speeding ticket because she's crying, it just trains that kind of behavior in women.
Okay.
Like, to what extent has acting in that way caused the dad to let up when she was a girl?
There's a quote from Socrates that goes, "Trust not a woman when she weeps, for it is her nature to weep when she wants her will." Thoughts on that?
It's a banger.
Works.
I agree.
Trust not a woman when she weeps, for it is her nature to weep when she wants her will. See, women got in their heads that men don't listen. That or they choose selective listening. So why would a real man practice this? Why would real men only listen to some of the complaints when things were prosperous and refuse to acknowledge the rest? Well, it's easy. It's because most of the problems women choose to share are wants, not needs. The reason I harp on the civilization cycle so much is that systems that allow women to treat agreements like an interpretive art always collapse. Systems that have strict rules on things like courting, marriage, and roles, when they're based in reality, may change shape and form, but they never truly die. When the West decided that something like marriage was an optional pageant where women could come and go as they please with whatever Chad and Tyrone were around the corner, they voluntarily set the timer for societal collapse. And this is a problem because almost always women aren't able to discern the true difference between a need and a want. So when a culture or government, or both, comes along and gives them unlimited options, they implode, losing their livelihoods, status, and comfort, believing this couldn't be the cause of their own choices, but rather the men they foolishly bedded or ran away from. Now, add all of this to the way we communicate in today's day and age, and we have a shitstorm the likes of which none of us could have ever seen.
What's y'all's type?
Anybody who makes money.
We talking about appearance. You can't do that.
Anybody who's pretty and makes money.
I am the smart. I am the smart.
I feel like the world would just be a much better place without Instagram. I feel like there wouldn't be no rating. There wouldn't be nothing compared. There wouldn't be none of that. I miss the old school.
You know what's interesting? I've asked this question to a bunch of girls on the panel. Anytime a girl like breaks up with a guy recently or whatever, I didn't get a chance to ask it on this one, but we'll ask it on other panels. Was a component to you breaking up with your guy because you felt like you could do better? And the answer is almost always yes. And then I said, well, what made you feel as though you could have done better? Was it attention on the internet? Was it Instagram, etc.? And a lot of times it's Instagram that made them feel like, okay, you know what? There's better men out there. They're messaging me. I could go ahead and replace my guy with something better. And I think Instagram has led to a lot of girls breaking up with dudes, and girls are the ones that initiate the breakups because it's like, damn, I can do better. Like, this dude is good enough, but I can do better.
I could do better. The national chant of the Western woman. As I said earlier, feminism is like some kind of underworld phantom that rises up and crushes empires whenever masculinity is put to the side. From Babylon to Rome, the two-part collapse always begins with the death of a god or spiritual discipline, and ends with female sexual liberation. Shortly after, whatever society that has made this pact is left vulnerable, directionless, and unable to handle challenges because the things that made them strong have since faded into distant memory. And how this manifests is determined by what tools a society has at its disposal. For us, it's lowly fans, thirst traps, and sprinkle mentors, telling every new generation of women a more radicalized version of what they heard in the past. The funny thing is that this tool doesn't just work one way though. It's true that women have access to social media, allowing them to be progressively more and more provocative, demanding $300 dinner dates even though they're more ran through than the world's worst quarterback. But it's also given men the tools to see women in a light that we've never seen them in before. We can pull out our laptops or phones and see what lies at the end of the feminist tunnel. It gives us a warning of what's to come, the kind of message that allows us to not make the same mistakes men make, when they didn't have such luxuries. So when most of us took a look, we decided we didn't like what we saw, and we walked away. The results have been interesting, to say the least.
Are you dating?
I'm single. I'm in a relationship.
Why are you single?
I think it's because I'm an alpha female.
You're alpha female?
Yeah, so like niggas can't handle that. Like somebody who feels like they're in charge all the time. So I think they're intimidating.
But do you want an alpha man or you want a submissive man?
I feel like, yeah.
Sounds like it doesn't correlate.
But I feel like it's gonna take the right person to come in and be like, huh, like I'm big dog. Like you gotta, and I'm gonna be like, okay.
So you're just going to be alone forever?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, no words for that one. Again, for the first time in history, men have been given a golden opportunity to get ahead of this liberation that has left so many civilizations in the dust. We can see what happens when women are left to their own devices, how they are so vapid and lost that they rush to totalitarianism and denial faster than any other group documented. In our absence, they've jumped past about 7 different natural phases, doing their best to produce an Orwellian reality that will lock up a high school boy who speaks their mind in the hopes that they may recondition him and share what messages must be followed for the feminist objective, which is a farce because there isn't one to begin with. They're tracking down older men with traditional values, raiding their homes for saying a 16-year-old searching for an IG career may not be that good for society. They're doing all of this to try and sow fear into the fabric of masculine civilization. But all it's effectively done is show how weak and incapable they really are. Because an entity that's thriving isn't worried about what men say and what men do. They would just continue to build on what already works. And that's the thing. Nothing about feminism does work. It's a collection of women who claim to be free, frantically trying to define who they are, ironically ignoring that the answer was right in front of them all along.
Can we please normalize intimacy without commitment?
No.
I'm busting my ass to be the best tour guide in the damn city so I can make enough money to support both of us, and hopefully you won't have to work one day.
I want to work!
All I ask, Brooke, is that you show a little bit of appreciation, that I just get 20 minutes to relax when I come home instead of being attacked with questions and nagged the whole damn time.
You think that I nag you?
That's all you do! All you do is nag me. The bathroom's a mess. Your belt doesn't match. Hey, Gil, you should probably go work out. Nothing I ever do is ever good enough. I just want to be left the hell alone.
Remember guys, everything, good or bad, starts in the home. So the only way to ensure that this doesn't get any worse is to make that home yours and no one else's. This feminist corruption is just like anything else if not encouraged, a fad. If every man stands up, refusing to budge, working on their own thing, ignoring the noise, that's all this will ever be. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want to say I appreciate you, so don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment to have a chance to win, and hit that subscribe button for daily videos. And if you could take a quick sec to subscribe to the second channel, Man Guide Reacts, link is right down below in the description, so we can be sure our message will keep on reaching the new men out there. I appreciate all the support, y'all.